this short while and to your calling. To live here again in this place, which was our home those many years ago.
Who died some 40 years ago, down there in that town, wife to this man. Agree to return to this our home for a short while, so that you may understand. This is the first and the last of my visits.
I don't want to be here. I'm still alive. I'm asleep and I'm dreaming and I'm still alive. I'm 78 years old and I'd almost forgotten this place. I don't want to be back here. But they made me. They made me.
I remember when we first moved into this place, full of holes and cracks, like a sieve it was. The winds came racing in off the Irish Sea and whistling round your ears. Some old farmer boy sold it us. He was a wily old bird, mind. Drove a hard bargain, but I got him down. Can't let people take advantage. He was typical of the people round here. Leery, but pig ignorant underneath it all. You wouldn't believe the state this place was in. Like a chink den in Limehouse. I've been about a bit, so I know. There was chickens in the parlour. Their doings were everywhere. Filthy. Had a good clean up. Got the women down on their hands and knees. Gave it a good old scrub. Like the Merchant Navy. I had my plans. I was working on them in my brain. I can do that. See something, then get a picture in my head of what it's going to be. It's a gift. Built the porch that first summer. It was a good porch, an entrance. But the place was still drafty. Real drafty, I tell you. Well, I'm not without a bit of gumption. I know how to set things right, sort things out. It's the way I am, like my father. Don't like to see things just left. So I slap on a layer of concrete against the snow and rain, don't I? Still drafty. Warmer outside that winter. So I build this panelling, see? Right through the whole house. Proper joiner's job, like a shell. Smart, cosy, wood panelling throughout, tight against the wind. Lovely. No more drafts then. Insulated, see? It was the gap that did it. The air, trapped between the outside wall and the panelling, warms up, insulates, like a thermos. There's science for you. Science isn't everything. There's other things not in this world. I know that. Fine thing if this was all there was. Just this dirty mess everywhere you looked.
The porch leaked. It wasn't my husband's fault. We used to get terrible storms. The rain always used to find a way in somehow. Ruined a whole set of serviettes. Nan gave them as a wedding present. Irish linen. Starched. White. Pretty. Still, you've got to make the effort. You make the best of things. The air was good and healthful. And even though it was only a little country school, they taught sums and grammar. And they weren't cruel like they are in some places. No one got beaten or had the insides of their arms pinched or anything. And it took her a while to settle in, but then it does, doesn't it? It was not having any proper income. There were the eggs and the goat's milk that I used to sell in town, and the odd rabbit, but didn't amount to much. Not that I'm a spendthrift, I'm careful. Always was. And you've got to be, haven't you? And then the goats went dry. Well, we were new at it all, and the locals weren't exactly friendly or helpful or anything. They were always so hostile, even before anything happened. They didn't want us here. They thought we were proud. Well, we were. Why not? Some nights the sky was so bright, and I'd slip out on my own, walk a little way from the house and put my head back and gaze at the stars. 1,000 bright lights. I was dizzy with them. They made my head sing. Like a girl, daft as a brush. But a thing like that somehow made it all worthwhile. That traipsing down the hill into town and the climb back up and the eyes on my back and the quiet, spiteful words and the dainty little laughs that I knew were for me. And then at last shutting the door and sobbing out loud, nearly fainting with relief, back at home and my home. You have to rise above things. You can't just give in like that, can you? You can't just fold. We could have been like the rest and descended to the lowest level, but we didn't want that. And my husband was never a drinker. I have that to be thankful for. We wanted something better. And what's wrong with that? We were clean and we were honest and we were hard working, and there's no sin in poverty. Funny how you come to a new place and everything looks foreign, and every corner's got somebody else's filth in it. And then, bit by bit, it comes to be yours, if you let it. If you make the effort, it does. But you have to make the effort. You have to try.
Way up here, you can look across this corner of the world. Nothing pinching, nothing squeezing the pride out of you. Room to stretch and survey. A good place to think, once it is established as ours.
When my father first brought us to this place, I was very small and scared of everything. I used to have bad dreams every night nearly, and sometimes when I woke up, I thought it was still the nightmare, and sometimes it was. And the passageway to Mother and Father's room went on forever. Father says they're sprites and imps by the stream. They sound all right, don't they? Sprites and imps. But they weren't. They were like black bits of broken still spring. I was scared to look at the dancing water too long, in case they'd jump at my eyes, stick in my skin. I woke up one morning and was aching all over. Then I could feel this tiny sharp bit just under the skin of my leg. I thought it must be an imp baby. I worried it so much it bled, and I scratched it and got it out. It was small and black and pointed. I got some matches and tried to roast it, but it wouldn't burn. So I crushed it in the mortar, but it was too hard. I didn't know what to do, so I bit it, cracked it with my back teeth, and spat out the bits back into the stream where it came from, and that showed them. Then I went to school, which has a roof like a witch's house. Who made you? God made me. Good girl. The first day, I ran away, and my father brought me back. In the afternoon, it got all thundery, and the black clouds made me cry. They made me sit there, colouring in, Mary, Mary, quite contrary. My tears made the colours run, but the teacher said it was beautiful and gave me a silver star. I used to think all the children were really wolves and wore these like human skin. They used to stare straight ahead at the blackboard or something, but I could see they were really watching me. It's a trick that spies learn to do when they observe people without them knowing. Those wolves said I used to get scared and stamp my feet like sheep do when they're worried, and that made them laugh at me. And that was better than them staring and not saying anything at all. But that was all when I was small, before Jeff came. He changed everything forever. I see him for the first time. He's by the chicken coop. Everything today is too bright. My father has just tarred the roof, and the smell of it makes my head dizzy. I was just sitting on a wall, watching some ants, when something made me look up. Like I said, everything is too bright, and there was a sort of space in the air, not like something had just arrived, more like something had just left. The chickens have gone quiet and still. Then I see him, not properly, because he's standing in the shadow, but I know he's there, watching me and sort of smiling to himself. I'm so surprised, not scared at all. I just think to myself, how long has he been watching me like that? Then he's gone, and it's my turn to smile. I know he'll be back. They could tell something was different when I came in for tea. I don't say anything, just let them stew. It's the first time in years I don't have any bad dreams. I wake up in the middle of the night. At first I'm worried, but I keep my eyes closed so I won't see anything coming to get me. Then I hear him whispering. He's by my window. It's like being tickled, like he's tickling me with his muzzle. Makes me laugh. Here I am, lying in bed with my eyes closed, chuckling away to myself like I was a baby again. It was wonderful.
I don't know who let him in, but I can guess. If it had been down to me, he would have stayed outside where he belongs. He could have made any amount of mess out there. He could have splashed about with water and walked through his food and caused any amount of mess. No one would have minded. Sometimes, when I come down in the mornings to light the fire and start the breakfast, the whole kitchen's upside down. It's a real mess. There's smashed eggs and flour all over the place and little footprints trailing everywhere. A queer, narrow little prints. They're like long daisy chain, delicate. You can make out each little pad and claw. So I start leaving little tidbits out for him, just the odd bacon rind and crust, and so as to train him. And I leave his food in a saucer by the back door, and he likes that. He eats it all up. Doesn't need to go rummaging about my cupboards anymore. One morning, I creep down very early, barefooted, and I can hear him moving his saucer about while he eats. And I think, I'll catch a glimpse of it. And I'm just getting to the kitchen when something cracks under my foot. It's an egg. It's a trap. He bolts, and I can hear him scrabbling across the floor and into the cupboards and bashing about among my pots and pans and scurrying into the walls and racing round and round over my head and away into some other part of the house. He left me quite breathless, he did. But he never left his doings anywhere. He was a clean animal. He may have been naughty, but he was clean. At least he was in the beginning.
I remember. I'm reading the newspaper. They're both out. The wife's down the hill, and she's gathering up the eggs. I hear a tapping noise. Like a mouse has got in behind the wall. You know, the space between my panelling and the brickwork. I don't know what makes me do it, but I tap back with my pencil on the arm of the chair. In a second, I hear the tapping noise answers. Tap, 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 it goes. Keep my eyes on the newspaper. Bide my time. He isn't going to get me rattled so easily. Another time, I was there, all on my lonesome by the fire, doing the crossword, as is my habit. The tapping noise comes again. Tap, tap, tap. I tap back with my pencil, and blow me if back comes the reply. So, I decide to play a little game. All right, my son, you're so clever and bright, I think to myself, so I'll make a noise like a cat. You know, meow, meow. Back comes the sound, just like that. Meow, meow. Like a real cat. So if your eyes were closed, you'd think it really was. So, I try another. Moo, moo. Back it comes from behind the wall. Then, woof, 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 woof. So now I'm getting going. Now it's a real game, isn't it? Now I'm really trying to catch that boy out. So calm as you like, I say cat. Cat, I say. Carefully enunciated, as if I was teaching a child. Back it comes, in a high-pitched voice. Wasn't too good at first, but he practiced, didn't he? He practiced till he got it right. He says. Over and over. I was carried away with wonder. An animal was taking lessons from me in human speech. He calls himself Jeff. Good name, Jeff. Short for Geoffrey.
He's joking. He's having father on. He can talk. Of course he could. He's listened in on chat all over the world. Could speak 7 languages if he liked. Used to swim with the darkies, up the river Ganges. Lived in a dirty temple once, covered in gold. Ate foreign food, all grease and pepper. Scampered about with the nips, ran up a Turk's skirts. Drummed with the Zulus, fished with the Eskimo. Lurked in the jungle in Africa. Oh, he can talk all right. He's just sort of getting my father used to him. Sort of asking permission. It's me he wants to talk to. And he's considerate. Doesn't want to scare me off all of a sudden. I'm not scared anyway. Not scared of anyone.
Ah! Ah! Such imagination, such conceit. My son was the only member of my family who ever showed any true affection. The eldest girl, she was a real cold fish. Moved off away to Liverpool as soon as she could. Good riddance to her, I say. This one, well, she likes animals and birds better than people. Not a great socializer, if you get my drift. Sometimes she hardly says a word to anyone for weeks. But she's always been good with animals. The dog would do anything for her. I've seen her with her arms outstretched, feeding a blackbird, like St. Kevin. Country girl. Me, I grew up in the town, what you call an urbanite. But she's only really known the country. Truth is, well, she's not the full shilling, if you get my drift. Mum got a fright when she was carrying her, I reckon. Maybe it was the dog getting over playful. Pregnant women scare easily, I've noticed. Once, when I went in the field for something, there she was, asleep with her arms round the goat. It's not natural, is it? Not quite natural. Well, that's one of the good things Jeff's done me. That buccaneer lad, he knows how to get the best out of the girl. He knows how to use her best qualities. Taught her how to catch rabbits for me, isn't he? Now, the way he does it is this. Jeff would fix the bunnies, stop them dead, as if he were a cobra. Hypnotise them. Then she'd creep round them while they were frozen, then chop 'em in the neck, catch 'em up by the ears. We're getting 50 a week sometimes. Sell them for cash in town. That boy.
It's devilment, he says. I did it for devilment. This after another night of moans and chatter and thumping the walls. We get used to it. We doze in and out of it. And sometimes the noise runs right through to the dawn chorus, and only then does he hush a bit of it. He never can tell. All that language. He says he always knew it. He listened without speaking until we taught him how. Pushed him, let him out. At first I felt a bit ashamed, I suppose. It was also so rude and unnecessary. But it was clever. He's like my husband in many ways. He always wants to keep me here. He bites his claws and watches the clock when I'm away. And he hangs about down the steep path, getting angry, rehearsing all those words. He was jealous of my husband. That time he gave me the bruises. All those sharp little flying stones. He came to meet me after I'd been to town, and we climbed the glen path, and he threw stones at my back all the way, screeching, "Maggie's the witch woman! The Zulu woman! The Algerian woman! The Honolulu woman!" Wanted me back. I even smile at all those women, but not the stones. My husband was very quiet.
He's told us what he looks like. He didn't need to. I am a ghost in the form of a weasel, and I'll haunt you. Light brown, with long bushy tail, tufts of darker brown, and black fur in it. Father sees him more and more, and Mother's happy when he's here. But he only really comes for me.
Vanished. That's what he says just before he goes, all too soon. I know he's watching me, even when he doesn't speak. I can hear him moving things, touching things. He told me that he's got tiny yellow hands, like a person. He opened a box of matches one night, up there on that deep shelf. We call it his sanctum. He's got a ball and a broken chair up there to play with. So he strikes a light so he can find the bits of biscuit that I've thrown up to him. He's showing off a bit. It's a bit of a trick. He's trying to get us worried. I'm sure he can see in the dark.
He doesn't know what he is, exactly. But he knows where he's been, all right. Told me about India. Speaks Arabic. And Hebrew. Oh, more than I know, but I can follow. Catch his drift. Sometimes we say the Italian prayers together. If he doesn't spoil it, that is. He plays up. He won't stay sensible with me. Keeps changing his story. One day it's, I am the ghost of a mongoose from the land of mists. Then it's... I'm not a spirit, I'm a freak with hands and feet. If you saw me, you would be petrified, mummified, turned into a stone or a pillar of salt. Always telling me things. His teacher, you see, can't help himself. But I have seen him. Up there, on the cross beam. Up there, on his sanctum. Behind the chair, in the yard. I know. Tied together we are. There's lots more to be said. Lots more I shall find out. What are you then? You don't know, do you? He hates that. I know what I am, and you are only rigged because I won't tell you. But I know all right, Dad. I've started writing it all down so that I can explain it to those book-learning knobs. That'll teach the little bugger.
Such a clever little monkey. Told my husband he was shy. Shy! That lad. Sometimes he apologises. Never directly, never in words. He brings gifts, stupid things, stolen bits and pieces, old paintbrushes and collar studs and a ball of wool. It's no magpie, this one. It's dull stuff, all taken from people we don't know. Gifts. I like the songs the best. They're mostly ones we know, but sometimes with odd and difficult parts. He changes the words, are made up to tell us he knows more. But when we're alone, he sings nicely for me. The moon was shining bright in Carolina. The night we said goodbye so tenderly. And now that I'm away from Carolina, won't somebody tell the moon for me? Carolina moon, keep shining, shining on the one that waits for me. Carolina moon, I'm pining, pining for the place I long to be. How I'm hoping tonight you'll go to the right window, scatter your light. Say I'm all right, please do. Tell her that I'm blue and lonely, dreamy Carolina moon. Last night I had a dream of Carolina. I dreamed that I was back there once again. The moon was shining bright in Carolina.
Home, home on the hill, where the nannies and billy goats play, where Geoffrey is heard all day like a bird, at home on the range, in the hills. And he ruins it all, spoils it. I am the Holy Ghost. What's wrong with him?
I heard him singing foreign stuff, all curly and pointed. Father says it's tunes sung by Spanish Jews in Turkey, and Welsh too. Just more of his jokes. He doesn't talk to me like that. But sometimes he asks me funny questions about things. He watches me, stays close, says he'd protect me, says he knows what was going on. Sometimes he goes mad, like in the Bible. Mother turns white. Father doesn't bother to write it down after the first 2 hours. Jabbering non-stop, all the sickness in the world. 2 hours of it. Influenza, smallpox, gout, hay fever, shakes, beriberi, rheumatism, hagnails, pimples, the plague, nosebleeds, boils, cancer, cramps, piles, the vapours.
Tumours, seasickness, pleurisy, glandular fever, syphilis, constipation, toothache, compound fractures, shingles, dysentery, mumps, trench foot, blindness, impotence, earache.
Anemia, palsy, cholera, conjunctivitis, croup, appendicitis, mania, leprosy, rabies, heat rash, septicemia, sterility, diarrhea, elephantitis, tonsillitis, amnesia, slip disc.
Then it went quiet, and he said to my father, "Hey, Dad, I have an evil joint in my tail." Then he started to laugh, a horrible, bad laugh, that went on and on and on.
And after that, he was quiet, out of the house for days. And when he came back, he was always close by. I could feel him. I forgave him. He had to. That boy.
He's never here when the visitors come. Won't show himself. Keeps mum. But they believe all right. They understand it's all true. No one would be fool enough to invent such a bloody stupid story. The papers know all about us. Local rags first, then the Midlands, now London. Even the wireless. He hates them coming here. Can't blame him. He spat on one as he was leaving.
I took a picture with the camera they gave me. Don't know if they want it back. Jeff likes me with it pushed into my body, looking down into it, trying to find him. Makes him laugh. "Kodak," he screams. "Kodak, Kodak, Kodak, Kodak."
He called them doubters, even the ones that believe. I like the visitors, though I'm a bit embarrassed. They ask about me as well as him. Now he's hiding. Won't say a dicky bird. Couldn't stop him before, told us everything. Famous people, Madame Curie, Sir Isaac Newton, spoke in foreign and Manx. The stories of all the darkies he'd met. Perhaps he wants to punish us for telling on him. Don't know. But him not showing up makes us look like liars or fools. And my husband wants to show them everything. He drags them round the house, pointing and tapping. He stuck one of my best table knives in the panelling to show how deep it was or something. Gets very excited. Talks about being famous. He's crushing Jeff. He's holding him too tight. He's squeezing him back to nothing again. That's why he's hiding.
Those clods down there, swilling in the public bar. They're envious of me now. They always were. Now they don't even pretend otherwise. There are too many visitors these days, turning up out of the blue. I'm getting tired of all these intruders lurking about. If they want to know, I'll tell them, in my own good time. They can read my reports, those doubters from London, sniffing round my daughter, giving her presents, try to catch her out, turning her head.
Hanky panky! Hanky panky!
I had to stop my daughter from playing with his mess. She thinks it's funny. I can't talk to her when she's like this with him. No more singing now. Fun's gone out of it. He threatens us. It's a dangerous nuisance. No one outside will ever want to see or know about this. I hate him for that.
He's a wicked boy. Likes to toy with the ladies. Reads their minds. Not difficult. He won't go distant and turn icy like the rest. Soon he'll tell me of other places, other worlds. I'm waiting. I'm writing it all down. Nothing escapes me. He likes to play tricks on the women. One night, I'm down here, alone again, and I hear his voice. Chiming it was, like a bell. Single words. Shoe. Necklace. I creep up the stairs on my hands and knees. I know something is going on. I can see into our bedroom through a crack in the door. My wife is getting ready for bed, getting undressed. He's in there with her, watching, naming things as she takes them off. She unbuttons her dress. Dress, dress, he sings. Now, you stop right there, she says, not too seriously. So he goes quiet, not a whisper. I'm trying not to make the stairs creak, pressed close to the floor. She starts to pull her petticoat over her head. Petticoat, he chimes. That's enough, she says, and blows out the light. It's pitch black. I'm straining my eyes and muscles in the silence. She's moving again, slowly in the dark. I can hear her unclipping her stockings. Stockings, Jeff goes. She says nothing, just carries on slowly. He can see everything. She's very quiet and getting slower. His voice is naming, speaking what he sees. It's taking a long time. And now, they're both silent, unmoving. I twitch, step sideways onto a squeaking board. Vanished! Jeff screams, and she gets into bed.
He's turned filthy. It's a dirty thing. It's dangerous too. He stole a box of matches. He lights them and throws them onto our bed while we're sleeping, and we're woken by the smell and the giggling. He's thumping the panelling every night. He spits at me, and worse. There's always a puddle by the holes in the wood. It's getting disgusting. Full of germs. Worse than the rats. He's vindictive. I don't know what's come over him behaving like this. It's a turn for the worse. Something's got to be done.
I don't want to be here. I'm still alive. I'm asleep and I'm dreaming, and I'm still alive. He vanished for a long time. They thought he was dead. But I know he can't while we're here. He can't die while I'm still alive. When he came back, he changed. A bit spiteful, a bit more wicked than before. Sort of upset. I think he's confused with us, muddling him up. Still comes on walks with me, just there behind me. Sometimes he rages, can't always make out what he says anymore, or what he means. The night Father gave him the electric torch was horrible, really funny in the beginning. Up there in his sanctum, running about, the light jumping and bouncing round the room. Mother turns the lamps off. He squeals and frolics with the new toy for ages, and we all have a laugh as the room flashes and dances about. Then it stops, and he points the light in our faces, one at a time. Mother first, then me. It's blinding. then Father. He keeps it there, even when Father tries to move, making a joke of it. Jeff doesn't let go. He keeps the light shining in his face. "That's all, my boy," my father says. "That's enough now." Jeff doesn't say anything. Father starts to get angry. I hate it when it's like this. Mother leaves the table. Father tells me to make him stop. I'm scared, but I'm still smiling. Father starts to bang the table. "This is my house. You will stop it." Mother lights the lamps, turns them up too bright in a hurry, so they're smoking black. Father's panting, his hands gripping the edge of the table. Then the light vanishes from my father's face and from the room. I catch it out of the corner of my eye, running and spinning through the wet fields outside, like a comet, mad with the joy of it, the light in his yellow hand, scything the night. It seems wonderful, and I almost forget the darkness around me. I was out there with him. We all went to bed that night without speaking or looking at each other. The house was quieter than ever before or since. I don't think any of us slept, just lay stiff, pretending.
I think they're trying to kill him. Dad! Dad! I'm sick! Rat poison. Spewing spit. Round and round. Making my head hurt. It's dawn when he finally stopped. Dragged himself into a corner. Fur matted with his animal sweat. Eyes staring. I could hear him panting, watching me from the dark. Staring. Accusing. Me. This morning, he made us all save him some of our breakfast. Little piece of everything. Tidbits. Already tried. He's too clever to make a mistake or go near the traps. He won't let it happen again.
He could kill us all if he wanted, whenever he wanted. He's the eighth wonder of the world. He's a baby who won't go away, a blessing and a curse, and with a terrible hunger. And we're his teachers, more like guides really, to help him come here, to help him stay. I don't know what was allowed before, but Father let it slip, was caught out. They still don't get it. His playing is to give us a chance. Like holding your breath. He's giving us time. He's practicing us, trying us on like a new glove. And it's wonderful. Every day he's a little bolder. Every day a bit more real. Sometimes I think he's dreaming us up there on his shelf, where nobody ever went until now.
I've written it all down methodically. 3 bottles of green ink are lined up with the notebooks, waiting at the end of each day. Journals, more than diaries. I've made duplicates for the interested parties. Green words, carefully mapping out everything. All this will never be forgotten. They'll probably turn this place into a museum. Some things I don't write down. the silly stuff. He only says it to irritate me. Accusations.
I've seen you. I know what you did.
Nonsense. Tricks. All that just confuses the issue. The real stuff. The facts.
I know why you want to keep them here.
See? Bloody rubbish like that. Where else could they go? Who else would have them? They're putting him up to it. I'm convinced. Soon, we will write down the truth. The facts about the other place.
The visitors come to see and hear him, to find out if he is real. They walk through us, or just watch our lips, like looking at an empty chair. We aren't even there in the pictures they take of us. One newspaper changed us completely, sort of painted over us, coloured us in all wrong. Father looks kind, and like a famous actor. They even made his wellies look like riding boots or shiny posh leather. Mother is younger and calm. And me, I am beautiful. They painted a different necklace on me, one I'd never seen before. They changed us, like he's doing to us each day. He is so powerful now. Sometimes he says he could split the atoms. Sometimes he's talking without me.
India, two natives had me. One tall with a green turban, the other a little man, deformed, or a hunchback. I was on the table in the house, and I knocked something over. Whereupon one said to the other, "Cubby, cubby, Commodore Mongoose, mongoose." Another time, they sung Lauke Dolo son de Bala, son de Bara.
Now, I can write it more clearly, cleanly, holding the ground, preparing the way. I wash my hands every time before I write. Don't want the muck of this place and them sticking to the descriptions. We're trying to share him equally, but I think they are cheating. Sometimes when I come in, I know he's been there. I can tell by their eyes. They don't want to tell me what he said, but I can guess. I wouldn't want to write down that rubbish anyway. But I let it go on. I have to. I'm trying to keep everything very steady, despite their twitterings. I'm trying to keep it all in order so he won't be scared off again. I don't want him worrying or fretting again. Got to keep his trust. Sometimes his voice is very high these days. Very faint. Very high. I have to concentrate. It isn't easy. They don't help. They don't realise. Any sudden change now could ruin everything. As we get closer, it gets more difficult, more fragile somehow. Everything's got to stay like it is. Everyone's got to keep quiet and not rock the boat. Things might turn nasty. It's like a great storm is brewing up, and we're at the eye, waiting for it to break. Hold my breath. Any day now. Any day.
Six years. These things shouldn't last for such a long time. It's been too long. 6 years. My daughter is no longer a child, and he knows it. He can't be trusted with her alone. We must get away from this place. It's wearing me out. The walking, the wind, the watching, the scrimping to keep alive up here. It all looks worn now. Clouds every day, clouds every night, no clear sky. Rain in the summer and no visitors. They got tired too, a long time ago. 6 years! The man who wrote the book said these things only ever last a few months. Even I'm beginning to doubt it now. When the girls from the village came up that time, I was tired. I was sitting in my chair, rocking. And they were looking around, prying, really. And the back of the chair tapped the panels. There he is, they said. Listen, there he is. And I was too tired to tell them it was me, and I just turned round and smiled at them and looked at the wall with them. And I think he knows what I'm thinking, and it scares him. I think he'll die if we move away. Very sad. The beginning was wonderful. But I must get my child away.
When my father first brought us to this place, I was scared of everything. I used to have bad dreams. But that was before Jeff came. He changed everything forever. Ma gives me food. Dad answers my questions. And I protect you. That's what he used to say to me. That's how it started. But I was small then. I'm 78 years old, and I'd almost forgotten this place. I don't want to be back here, but they made me. You could have killed us if you wanted. You could have killed all the chickens and put a slate on the chimney and smoked us out and killed us. I would never be so wicked. But if one of us had to die, which would you prefer? I don't want any of you to die. I like you all. What happens to us when we die, Jeff? Want to go for a walk, dogs? Take the dogs for a good run. Make a daisy chain. Will you die, Jeff? Bunk off school. Won't tell anyone. Promise. I'll look out for you. I'll always be here for you. Cross my heart. Who made you? God made me. Time to go. Vanished. Are you a ghost? I'm the eighth wonder of the world. Vanished. What will happen to you when you die? I'll never die. Never. But if you did, where would you go? To hell. To land of mists. Vanish.